As we continue to see unprecedented violence being levied against the people of Palestine, I am going to continue making videos about books from or about Palestine. Again, I want to preface this by saying, yes, me telling you to read these books isn't going to have the biggest impact in helping Palestinians. Please do continue to donate, spread awareness, email your elected officials about it, go to protests, donate to MAP or the Palestinian Children's Relief Fund. Please talk to your peers about this, because that's what's going to help us help them the most. And with that, I will tell you some poetry from Palestine, some collections of poems from Palestine or about Palestine, that if you're someone who's into poetry, will really maybe open your heart towards the Palestinian cause if you're not there quite yet. Starting off with the classic Mahmoud Darwish, more specifically for this, Presence in Absence. Mahmoud Darwish is like the go-to Palestinian poet for the past century, the past, 21st into the 20th century. Darwish himself, some people have a complicated relationship with him given some of his personal life, but when it comes to his poetry, it is beautiful. It really shows his love for Palestine, the land of Palestine, his loss he feels for Palestine. I want to preface all of this again by saying I'm not the biggest poetry reader, but the stuff in this collection really, really moved me. So I very much, if you're going to read Darwish, I would say read Presence and Absence, because it got someone like me who doesn't really get poetry all that much really moved and made me feel his bearing of his soul throughout this. Up next is Rifqa by Muhammad al-Kurd. If you don't know Muhammad al-Kurd, he is kind of that guy that got really big in 2021 when the attacks on the people in the West Bank were happening, and he was on all the news stations, and all these people in the news were trying to put him down, being like, oh, do you condemn violence against Israelis? Do you condemn the protests? Stuff like that. He was just on there like, why are you telling me these things when you invite me to talk about my family being forcibly displaced? He's been an activist for a very long time. His sister, Dane al-Kurd, is also a very big activist. I think if you want to follow stuff from Palestine, I'd follow the two of them. They're both, one of them is super on the streets and stuff in Palestine, and Muhammad is very much, he's also on the streets of Palestine, but also he's often invited around the world to talk and give speeches as well. I think Dane has as well, but Muhammad al-Kurd especially. But going back to Rifqa, it's like a poetic anthology from him. There's some poems, and I think there's also some prose in this collection. It's about his life, about his family, about Palestine, his feelings about Palestine, the feelings of his family, the tragedy and the loss they all go through. It's very deep. It's not the longest collection either. I don't think any of the collections I'm suggesting are very long, but Rifqa's also great. And I think of the four I'm talking about, it's the most recent one to be published. Thirdly is Poems for Palestine. Poems for Palestine is a collection of poems from Palestinians living in Palestine and around the world who have just submitted them for this collection to be made. In terms of, if for lack of a better term, standard of poetry, it's very different to the other two suggestions. The other two suggestions, well, at least the first one and the last one I'm going to give, are from, professional poets, professional writers. These are from the people. They do still have the heart, the pain and the suffering is still in all of these poems, but I thought I would add this one to the list because profits from this one go to the Palestine Children's Relief Fund. So, if you purchase one, any profits that are made off of it will go towards helping Palestinians, or at least it should do, as it's said on the book. You Can Be the Last Leaf by Maya Abu al-Hayaat is a selection of poems, and I believe this is the first translation of Maya Abu al-Hayaat's poems that were released in the US. It seems from the research I've had. Al-Hayaat is a well-known author within Palestine, within Palestinian circles. He, leads Palestinian writing workshops with prominent Palestinian writers or up-and-coming writers in Palestine. And this is a collection of her poems which finally were translated and released into the US as well as elsewhere. The collection of poems, again, kind of like Darwish's ones, they very much bear the soul of the individual. I think Al-Hayaat's ones really do also, Al-Hayaat's ones also really go into just the pain and the tragedy that one feels when living in a place constantly under occupation, under brutal occupation, especially over the past couple of decades. And that's kind of what you really feel when you're reading a lot of these poems. So I very much recommend this one as well. Although I said Rivka might be the most recent one published, I think this actually might be the actual one most recently published by a few months. So again, it is a very, very like recent, like Darwish's one is quite old, the Poems of Palestine one is a slightly older collection as well, but this one, You Can Be the Last Leaf and Rivka were published within the last 2 years. So those are extremely recent publications. Links to all of these collections are going to be in the description down below. It is unfortunately an Amazon link because the place I used to use got shut down and they used to be able to deliver it worldwide. Now I've only really got Amazon, which is unfortunate. So, you know, you don't need to buy them from the links down below. You can just click the links or maybe just find them somewhere else, find them somewhere local for you to pick up and read. And like I said, obviously reading these things aren't going to change the situation for the people in Palestine, especially the people living in the Gaza Strip. But I'm hoping, you know, if you read these books, more people will be exposed to them, more people can read them, can be moved and want to support the Palestinian cause. That's kind of the best I can do with this channel here. I hope, you know, if you can, please donate, go to protests, email your elected officials, speak to people you know about this cause, raise the awareness. We see unprecedented levels of support we've not seen in my lifetime, at least, for the people of Palestine or any sort of movement, again, that I can remember in my lifetime. So again, we just need to keep it going because unfortunately those who oppose and want to oppress the Palestinians will not stop going. The momentum will keep on going, and we need to also keep up the momentum for supporting them. And so like I said, do read these books. You don't need to use the links I'm going to put down below, but yeah, try and just raise awareness as best you can. I have other videos about books from Palestine. There's 2 videos that are about non-fiction books. I've got a short about fiction books I put out last week. There'll be a link in the description down below to a playlist of all of those as well. But again, more than anything, more than watching those videos, please find a way in which you can support the Palestinian people, either with your voice or financially. And yeah, just do what you can.